Hey guys, welcome back to another FlossTube video. This is my second FlossTube video. My name is Sarah from Sarah Reads and Stitches, and somebody wants to say hi real quick, and she's not going to leave until she says hi. So this is Emma. Yeah, okay, they get it. And then leave. Okay, so I have a good bit of stitching to show. I'm going to go through some of the whips that I've been working on these past 2 weeks. A couple of sewing finishes that are very directly stitchy related, and some new starts, because I have been very guilty about this new starts. But the first thing I'm going to do is my little bit of haul. Now I don't have much, it's just this one book. I found it on the Stash Unload Facebook page, and if you're not familiar with that, it is a great place to find older patterns, older books, just a little bit of everything, really. I mean, you can find kits that are, you know, never opened or opened but complete. And this is, it's an old leisure arts book. It is the Disney Home Princess Collection. So I'm a little old for it now, but when I was a kid, in my hometown, there was a needle workshop, and I was really young. But my mom was very good friends with the people that owned it, and my mom has been stitching forever. And we went in there, and the woman that owned it was, you know, trying to like entertain me a little bit while my mom shopped, and she pulled this off the rack, because this was new at the time, I believe. It was like, oh, you know, like, you should get your mom to stitch something out of this. Oh, look at Belle, because there's some really cute Belle patterns, and I'm a huge Beauty and the Beast fan. So she definitely sold me on the book, and if we had left there without getting this pattern book, there would have been hell to pay. So we got it. And then my mom ended up stitching me, let's see if they're right here. She stitched this. That glare is terrible. There, you can kind of see it. So the one that she stitched for me, it's Belle in that purple frame, and it's framed in this really cute little gilt golden frame. So it's really sentimental, and if you hear clattering around, the dog and cat are playing, but if I kick him out, they'll just sit and scream, so I might as well just deal with the fighting. They're not fighting, they're playing, but it's loud. So anyway, my mom had this book when I was a kid. She stitched something for me out of it, and then when I was probably 13 or 14, do you guys mind? When I was like 13, 14, she sold it at a yard sale, and none of us stitched at the time, and I've kind of kicked myself ever since, because of course it's out of print, because it's sentimental if nothing else, and I still love the old Disney princesses. So I saw this come up in the Stash Unload, and she gave it to me for $5 plus shipping, because it is not in the best condition. Like you can see, I don't want to show any charts. You see the pages coming out of it. Everything's there. It's just, it's seen better days. Let me kick the dog and cat out real quick. Okay, I'm back. So they can just go destroy the rest of the house. They're not going to be interrupting us now. So where was I? So yeah, the book is very sentimental. I don't know how much I'll actually end up stitching out of it, because I'm a little bit past Cinderella and all that, although I do still absolutely love Beauty and the Beast. So I'll probably stitch this other Belle pattern at some point, because I have several other Beauty and the Beast stitchy things. But yeah, it's sentimental if nothing else, and I do have a niece. It's my boyfriend's sister's daughter, so she's not really my niece, but still. So if she ever decides to get into the older Disney princesses, I certainly have some stuff to stitch for her. Currently, she's really only interested in like Moana and Frozen. I noticed it's really interesting. It seems like the little girls that are growing up with like the very feminist fairy tales, like the I can save myself, I don't need a prince, they don't seem to be very interested in the older fairy tales, where the prince, you know, kisses the princess and brings her back to life. So it does make me wonder where Disney's going to keep going from there. So I'd be curious on your thoughts about that. If anybody else is around young girls and has noticed that same trend of not liking both kinds of fairy tales, really only liking the feminist ones or the cutesy classic ones. But anyway, this is not the Disney Channel. I hope somebody knows what that was. Oh God, it's been a long week. So I have done a lot of stitching and sewing because my boyfriend and I have been stuck in all freaking week because we have had COVID again. We got it for the first time in October of 2020, so during like the height of the pandemic. And all in all, because back then the quarantine time was still 2 full weeks, we came back positive at different times. We were stuck in for about a month total. So I'll take 1 week over a month anytime. No complaints from me here. It just sucks that you have to stay in at all. But we did. So this past Saturday, I was up here sewing. This is my craft room, by the way. So this is my monitor, my desk where I use the computer. Puzzle. There's my shelf full of craft shit stuff. I shouldn't swear, I'm sorry. That light then is shining down on my guinea pigs, and you can kind of see their cage right there. This is just some, we recently rearranged and we just haven't found a place to put that stuff yet, so don't mind it. Anyway, I was up here in my craft room and my boyfriend comes up. He's like, I think I'm getting sick. I got like a throat thing going on and I don't know why. My gut, I was like, we need a COVID test. It just, I don't know, I just felt it in my gut. So we had a box of at-home COVID tests. So he took one, he came back positive. I took one, I came back negative. He's been real sick. He's had like a bad cold, essentially. I've had like a migraine on and off. I don't know if that's related, but it has sucked. But we are over it for the most part. He's still coughing a little bit. I still just feel a little off, but we've come back negative, so we can go back to work tomorrow. Everything's pretty much back to the same old. But we have been stuck in a lot. So I do have several sewing finishes that I want to show you. The first is actually from my dad. I took a trip with my family this past May. We went down to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and if you're not familiar, there is a wonderful needlework shop down there on like the main drag of Pigeon Forge, Dixie Darlin. If you're down there, absolutely go. Wonderful, wonderful store. And while he was down there, of course, my mom and I raided the needlework store, and he came in with us, and he was like, this looks fun. I'm like, I want to give it a shot. So he picked up a little Christmas ornament to try, and so this is a very late Father's Day present, but I decided to make him a project bag. So the top I went ahead and like fully quilted because I have had issue with the lining getting stuck from the top, getting stuck, but not the bottom. I guess gravity pulling it down, I'm not sure. So it's made from this really cool train fabric. He actually was in, oh, that's a really bad crease right there. Might iron that again. He was in my local quilt shop when my parents came down for my graduation from Virginia Tech. And he saw this fabric, thought it was so cool, so I went ahead and got like half a yard and just kept it. I thought maybe I'll eventually make something. So this rolled around. I thought it was great. I don't know how big of a fan I am of the yellow zipper. I was trying to pull out like these little bits of yellow. But now I'm thinking just a gray one probably would have looked better, but oh well. So zips. It's just lined with this gray cotton. There it is. I made this project bag using Elizabeth Ann Stitch's tutorial. She has a wonderful tutorial that really is very easy to follow, especially for beginners. So that was my first sewing finish. Then I have 2 others. So first was this one. This was made, this is a different style project bag, you can tell. It's just got a top zip. The fabric is from Hobby Lobby. I have a thing for trucks. And then the lining looks like this. This is one of my whips I gotta show you guys. I'm gonna block that out. Yeah, I love that lining fabric. It reminds me a lot of like American Girl doll dresses. I just love it. But anyway, this fabric came from Hobby Lobby and the tutorial was from Celeste Creates, I believe. The only thing I did differently, I top stitched along either side of my zipper. Not very well, as you can see, but I did top stitch it because I just always worry about the lining getting caught. And then I did go ahead and make another one with the same tutorial. I wanted a Christmas one, so this is really cute. Fabric is also from Hobby Lobby. As like trucks with puppies and presents and snow, the red zipper, and then this really cute homespun. I love homespun. And I think especially at Christmas, it's just so Christmassy. So those are my little sewing finishes. So I did my haul, I did my sewing finishes, so now we'll get into the whips. So the first one that I worked on, so this bag, this was an Elizabeth Atkins stitch tutorial. This is my very first one. I think I showed you guys last time. So I worked on this from the night that I made my last FlossTube video till like Saturday morning this past week. I put a good bit of time into it. This is the one that I normally consider like my travel project. I do stitch with a local group. We meet the first Thursday of every month, and I usually have taken this with me, and so I've had it going because it's just one color. So this is Large Wet 1962 by Fox and Rabbit. Ignore my poor measuring over on this side. So last time you guys saw it, here's the whole piece. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is stitched in DMC 115. I love the variegated red. You guys can see it right here, especially. It's so pretty. So the last time you guys saw it, I think I was just starting this line across. So I finished that line, these like berries. These things were so fun to stitch. I think they kind of look like frog eggs. Like if you remember in school, if you, your kids, whatever, hatched frogs in like 2nd grade, it reminds me of the clumps of frog eggs, but I'm just in my own little world, so it might just be me. But yeah, so I'm down to that row of like those split triangles. And if I remember right, I finished that row across, and there's like another row of something else, and then I have a page 4 finish. So then my next part of this, under that zigzag line in the center, I got to figure out a better way to do this. Under this like zigzag line, it comes down, there's a box with like a windmill and 2 little people in it. So that's not going to take long at all to finish. That's like an entire page right there. So yeah, and this is stitched on a 14 count Aida that is called linen. So it's scratchy, sort of like older linen. I like it. It's very pretty. And I think it works especially well for something that's meant to look like an older redwork sampler. But I will say, I do the sewing method when I stitch, and I noticed my thread fraying and breaking a lot on this fabric. So I'm not going to say whether it's the fabric, whether it's the thread, or something I'm doing wrong. But just be warned if you're going to use that combination of fabric and thread, because I'm pretty sure this fabric's by Zweigart. So I'm pretty, yeah, it's got the orange stitching. So it's pretty easy to come by. Alright, there's one whip down. So then the next one, I hope this is controversial, but it's in this fall bag that I just showed you with this pretty American Girl doll dress lining. The next one that I'm stitching is from the Witchy Stitcher, and if you are involved with her Facebook group, you will know that after the whole Roe v. Wade, repeal, the whole mess with Roe v. Wade in the States here, Witchy Stitcher and a lot of other designers sort of in her realm came together. They designed a bunch of really nice patterns that all had to do with reproductive rights. And if you donated $5 to an abortion access fund charity, then you got access to all of these patterns. So I did that. And the only one I got out of the package so far anyway was this Raise Hell for Reproductive Rights. So I just thought this was so cool. Again, I really hope this doesn't offend anybody. That is not my intention. I don't mean to get political, but I'm really excited about this stitch, or I wouldn't show it, honestly, because I don't intend to alienate anybody. This is my very first piece on linen. So this is a piece of 28 count Charles Craft, just like raw, I think, or natural. So there I'm doing 2 over 2. I have that first box at the top and like the very top of like the uterus that's in the pattern. So I'm really liking it. I have never stitched over on linen at all. so far I'm really enjoying it. It's not nearly as difficult as I thought it was going to be. It was really intimidating. I have another pattern that I bought, Seeking Refuge by the Scarlet House, I believe it is, that part of it's 1/1, so it has to be stitched on linen. So I was like, you know, I got to get over it at some point. I got to learn. And this one I thought would be a pretty good piece to learn on, because a lot of it is just solid stitched and then it's just counting in lines. So yeah, and there's not many colors. There's only 3 colors in the whole piece. So yeah, that is Raise Hell for Reproductive Rights by the Witchy Stitcher. And I hope that didn't bother anybody, like I said, but I just was really too proud of it not to show it. All right, moving on now. We are moving right along. So after that was, oh gosh, also by the Witchy Stitcher. So this really cute project bag. The fabric was probably at one point from Joann's, but my mother-in-law gave me the fabric. She didn't want it anymore, so I absorbed it. Like I said, this is also by the Witchy Stitcher. This is the 3rd release from the Supernatural Stitch Along. Let me take it out of the frame so you can see. Sorry, I should have done this ahead of time. All right. It's my werewolf. I love him. Look at him. He's so cute. Oh, God. I'm terrible at this. I'm sorry. But, so there's, freaking, needle minder. There's the whole piece. This is on a 16 count, just white Aida from Hobby Lobby that I tea-dyed myself using, I think it was the tutorial from Stitching with the Housewives. Really great tutorial, whoever it was. It was very easy. I love the turnout. So the first release was June 1st, I believe, and you had a month to do the border. So I got the whole border done, and then we had the siren and the werewolf. So I'm officially caught up to date, except looking at it now, I just realized there's, okay, so you see in this border, there's like the gold and the brown in the corners of the frame. It was supposed to be in this corner, these corners too. Totally forgot about that. And the only other difference between mine and the called for, I outlined my moon behind him with the skull in it. I outlined that in black because the cream color that the majority of the moon is stitched in just didn't show up enough for my liking on my fabric. It was just kind of this floating dark mark, Harry Potter-esque skull behind him, and I just didn't care for it. So I did outline the moon, and I need to go, ooh, so I'm just cracked. I don't know what that was. That didn't sound good though. Anyway, so I do need to go back and fill in those little corners of the frame, but otherwise he is up to date, and he was really fun to stitch because he's got all those different shades of brown, and he looks really good, especially back a little ways. You can definitely tell what he is, I think. And I always love doing the little name across. It's the same thing in the Cryptid style, the same font. I just really enjoy that with like the O, the dot underneath. I don't know why. I'm just really, really into it. So tomorrow, so today's Thursday, tomorrow will be the 3rd release of the little creatures. Really hoping for a vampire soon. I really hope there's a vampire and a ghost at some point. I don't care when. I will just be disappointed if we get all the way through this and we don't at least have a ghost. Because what else is more supernatural than a ghost? So this I have been working on. The Raise Hell was a new start that I worked on one day. This and my Christmas bag that I showed a little earlier. This is another new start that I have worked on. So in here, there's really 2 projects. I'll show you the one that I got started. Ooh, will fly everywhere. So the first that I actually have some work done on is the Prairie Spoiler 2020. This isn't going to show up, is it? Ugh, I gotta get the light figured out. The Prairie Spoiler 2021 Santa. So it's the Winter Woods one. He's really cute. He has a little quail up in his bag. He's a raccoon, an owl. I guess that's supposed to be a fox and like a little winter bird of some kind. this is my very first Prairie Spoiler that I have ever stitched, despite my mom being a die-hard Prairie Spoiler fan. So here he is. This is my start. I'm pretty good ways through him, actually. I'd say I'm about a third of the way. So I started out doing some of the border. It's just a back stitched over a single block. Went up here, did the words. This was a really fun font to stitch. I need to zigzag around this. This is fraying. And then I did like his hat, his head, and this little quail. When I was in high school, I was in FFA. I took lots of ag classes, and pretty much every year we raised some kind of something from egg. Usually it was chickens, but one year there was a quail mixed in. It was all chickens and then one little quail. And unfortunately that year, not many of the chickens hatched. That happens when you're raising eggs. But we only had like 2 chickens, but the little quail did hatch. And if you've never seen little baby quail, they are teeny tiny. And then they get that little feather on top, and it just kills me. I don't know why. I just love little quail feathers. But yeah. So I got him done down to like the waist, and now I'm filling in the raccoon before I go any farther. I'm probably going to finish the raccoon, come out here, do the owl on his hand and everything, and then go on waist down, because there's the bottom of the piece. So as per usual, I can't get anything centered on fabric to save my freaking life. But this is stitched on a 14 count vintage country mocha from Zweigart, and it is stitched on the country mocha side since it is a printed fabric. Yeah, that's the plain back. There's the printed side. So I'm really, really happy with him. I have really enjoyed working on him, and I'm just shocked at how fast he's worked up, especially since I've just been stitching him in hand. I don't have a hoop or a frame small enough to put him in. So I've really, really enjoyed him. My goal is to stitch a Santa for every year that I've been stitching. So this is the 2021 one. Right here, I have kitted up ready to go. Once I finish the 21 Santa, I had the 2022 Santa. This is the one that nobody seems to like, and I don't really get it. I think he's adorable with the penguins and everything. Like, yeah, I know the whole thing about penguins don't live in the Arctic, but just, let's quit complaining, please. Like, I'm afraid she's going to quit designing them if we don't act grateful. So please be nice. But I think he's adorable. I love penguins. The only thing I was not a fan of is that neon. All these lights are done in, yeah, just neon E980. I didn't even see it. I just stitch everything in DMC. Oh, don't want to show the chart, sorry. So I went to get it, and they didn't even have it. So I just didn't bother with the neon thread. I didn't think I'd like it anyway. Instead, when I get to him, I'm going to stitch the lights and this satin, let's see, what is it? DMC S3820. It's DMC satin embroidery floss, lean sateen. But it's really pretty. It's got an awesome, you can really see it, but yeah. It's got an awesome sheen to it. I mean, it's definitely, it's satin. Kind of worried about what a pain this will be to use, but I just love it so much. It's just got such a nice slippery texture to it, and it's like the exact color that I think of when I think of like clear Christmas lights, that glowing, that really warm yellow that I really like. So I decided that this would be my Christmas bulb color because I thought the satin would catch the light. And yeah, I think I made a good choice. I like that. So yeah, when I get to the 22 Santa, that'll be my Christmas lights. Otherwise, I never make any changes to, well, I haven't stitched a Prairie Spoiler, but I would never make changes to Prairie Spoiler. I love her colors so much. I love antique shades, the Williamsburg hues, and everything. So that's what's in my Christmas bag. And then that pretty much brings us up to date. So my most recent whip, let me reach over here. Sorry, it's on my magnet board. Let me see here. Get flipped around so I don't show the chart. This is Fire Dragon, designed by Dylan Allaire, and it is printed by Near North Treasures Collection. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just what it's called. So it's this, it is full coverage. It is fairly large. On 14 count, the stitched area works up to be 14 by 17 and 1/8. So it's a pretty large piece. There's a surprising number of colors in it, even though so far it does not look like much. But I'm just about to finish the first page. So let me pull this out. I know I showed it to you the last time, but still. I did pick this up last night and start working on it. I think I'm going to put about a week into it, try to get a good chunk done, because I've only picked this up one other time since I started it. Yeah, that was when I started it. So I'm going to put about a week into it. I'm going up to see my parents like this next weekend. Yeah, not this weekend, but the next weekend. And I always get a lot of stitching done when I'm at my parents' house because my mom stitches, so we just kind of sit down and go to town. So I'm hoping to get a lot done on this. So here it is so far. So this is the top corner, the top, yeah, left corner, sorry. Top left corner of the piece. So you have it starting in this darker pink and it fades out into a lighter pink. I'm not really sure why pink was chosen, but whatever. And then this is the dragon's wing that's coming down. So you have like the membrane here, and then there's a little bit of shadow, and this is like the bone coming down here. So I am working on coming down, doing that wing right there. So this is the last, I've been doing it by the row of 10 blocks. So this is, like you can see, if you count, this is 10 rows. So I'm going to finish this row across here, so fill this all in. But then I have an incomplete row. You see the guinea pig jump back there? They tore the feeder off the wall again. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Then I have a row that's like, it's a row of 10 blocks, so it's still 10 stitches wide, but they're only like 6 stitches tall. So this is my last full row of the first page. But I do like it so far. Like, it definitely, it has a very lush coverage. This is just DMC on some Ada, like cream colored, I think it's ivory, Ada 14 count from Hobby Lobby. Since it is full coverage, the point is to not see the fabric, so I really didn't want to stitch it on anything too precious, and then end up losing that fabric. So that is my most up-to-date whip. That's what I'm working on today. I did my haul, showed my little sewing finishes. The last thing I wanted to show, I know, I get really interested in seeing people's, hit the freaking camera again. I want to show my book of days. So this is the first year I've done a book of days, and let me take that out of it. I don't think there's any pertinent information that it's going to kill me if somebody sees, but a lot of crap stuck in the front. So I decorated it. I have the Bibliophile sticker book. So I really enjoyed every month going in. I really keep track every day of my stitching. And I've been working on the temperature blanket. I'm terribly behind now. So every day I have the temperature penciled in for the days that I've done. I'm probably going to realize there's some horrible information in here nobody can see after I film this video. But so there's my February. Here's March. March was hard. I didn't really know what to do for March, so I just went with like the green shamrock. Then April, I went freaking wild. There was a lot in April. Then May, I went pretty nuts with too. June was fun. And then July, I cannot find my sticker book anywhere. So July looks like this. July is pretty up to date, but July is not exciting. So yeah, that's my little book of days. I really enjoy seeing other people, so I thought I'd show mine real quick. It's starting to really show its age. I've only had it since Christmas. And you see I don't know if you can see the rings on it from, yeah, there you go. Having set cups of tea down on it. Makes an excellent coaster, in case you're curious. Let me put my papers back in there so I don't forget them. You know, where else do you keep your concert tickets but in your book of days? Yeah, so that's been my last 2 weeks or so. Nothing too exciting otherwise. Just a lot of time for stitching. I've forgotten just how much, not necessarily free time, but just stuck at home time when you're sick. It had been 2 years since I'd had COVID. And I never tested positive, but I did not feel good. So anyway, we're over it. We've just had lots of time to contemplate about things. I'll say that much. But yeah, I guess I won't keep you guys any longer. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.